message. So I thought maybe we ought to finish with a bit of good news about these guys. So let's be absolutely clear, shall we? The people in this building here are a dying breed, yeah? I had a conversation about 2 weeks ago with a young geologist who's in an exploration division for one of the oil majors, and she told me that they are being told to retrain because there is no career future in oil exploration. They're also being told that these people are preparing for all their oil reserves to become stranded assets, i.e. worthless, things that they cannot use. And I don't know if you saw, but earlier this week, XR, one of the most evil companies on the planet, who have spent years, generations, actually lobbying and paying for lobbying to stop us realizing the truth about the climate crisis we're facing. For the very first time, they were bumped off the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That's where all the companies who are the biggest companies in the world are kept. They've been on it for 92 years, but oil prices have fallen so far and so fast that they're now not the economic superpower they once were. The Alberta tar sands are no longer economically viable. And that's all the good news, but what we need to think about here is this is a dangerous moment, right? Because these people are wounded beasts. They're in a corner and they're going to be absolutely determined to get the last gasp, to squeeze the last dollar, the last pound out of their oil reserves before they become those stranded assets. We also know that our very own government, the government that's failing to look after us, failing to protect us, failing to protect our children, is pouring billions of pounds into business as usual to prop these guys up and keep their business going. And we know, for example, that there are plans announced by the French company Total to build a gigantic oil pipeline the length of Africa to get those last bits of oil out of the ground and make the last money they can before they have to close things down. So we know that we've got as little as 10 years to actually stop the very worst impacts of the climate crisis and the ecological crisis that we're all facing. And we can't let this last gasp of these really unpleasant companies stop us from stopping the worst things from happening, okay? It's our duty, the generations to come, to make sure that we hurry the collapse of Shell and all their planet-wrecking friends when we walk away from here today. In other words, we need to keep on rebelling. Now we can do that in lots of different ways. For starters, we can remove their cultural capital. We can no longer let them have the permission to operate as a respectable business in our society. We can make them as unpopular as big tobacco are now. We can make them not able to show their faces in public by not allowing them to sponsor our cultural institutions and our museums. Or to give bursaries to our universities. The other thing we can do is we can get involved in divestment campaigns. We can stop our work pensions being used to fund these people to destroy our planet and to destroy our futures. So get into work, find out who your work pension is with, tell your business that you don't want any of it to go into fossil fuels, or join all the incredible campaigns that have been campaigning for years. They're absolute heroes to divest from these companies and not put any more pension funds or any other investments into them. The other thing we can do is cut demand. So, for example, many of you may know, in London at the moment, transport's having a massive overhaul. The local authorities, and even to be absolutely fair to them, the Tory government have decided that they have to get rid of traffic in London. They have to lower traffic levels in London. So low traffic neighbourhoods have been set up, but there is opposition to them. If it's happening in your area, get behind them. Do whatever you can, support them, make them permanent, because we need to cut out the cars and cut out the demand for the petrol and oil that these companies rely on for their lifeblood. But most of all, what we need to do is you need to use your rebel love and your rebel rage to make it very, very uncomfortable for these people who live on Extinction Rebellion Lambeth's patch and are the nightmare neighbours from hell. We have to make sure that they realise they are. We have to keep coming back here, and we have to use our creativity and our cleverness and our brilliance and our passion to make life as uncomfortable as possible for Shell and everybody like Shell, so that they realise they're not welcome here, they're not welcome in our communities, and we want them shut down, and we want them to change what they're doing and stop it immediately. So that's the end of my speech. You've been amazing. Well done everybody for turning out today, and let's send one final message to these guys, if I can find a piece of paper with a final message on it, which is their oil means our deaths. And what do we want to do? We want to live. What do we want to do? Live. We want to live. And we're going to keep coming back here to make sure they hear that message, that we want to live, and we're determined to do so. So well done everybody, and extinction! Rebellion! Extinction! Rebellion! Extinction! Rebellion! Whoa!